Hello, I'm Tom Height from the Northwest Oklahoma Woodturners Association. We're a small club in Enid, Oklahoma. Enid, Oklahoma is not the last place on earth, but you can see it from here. But during these COVID times, we decided, since we're not having regular meetings, that we would film a demonstration ever so often, just kind of keep the club active. And that's what we're doing today. And first of all, I would like to thank Dwayne Caldwell for using his shop. Richard Perry is our videographer, and Jerry Augustine is our support help. Thank you very much. And I'd also like to thank Mike Peace. His video is the one that gave me the idea for our project today. Our project today is going to be a refrigerator magnet pin holder. And stand by just a second, I'll show you an example.
I'll zoom in a little.
This is the pin and the pin holder. The pin holder has magnets in the back, so you can stick it to the refrigerator door, and then have a piece of paper behind it. Anytime you need something out of the refrigerator, you can just take the pin out and write it down. You don't have to search for a pin. So that's our project today. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Mm-hmm.
Now these are just some of the examples of some I've made already, and that's what we're going to do today. It's just basic spindle turning and a cove. That's basically most of it. So, okay, our standard disclaimer here is know your equipment, make sure your tools are sharp, wear your eye protection, and when you're sanding, your breathing protection. And I'm going to change into my all-time favorite wood turning cap. And so I guess we're getting ready to start. I start out with about a 2-inch square. Measurements aren't absolute, you can make them however you want, but I start out with about 2-inch square, and I'll cut this 3 inches long so I could make a tenon back here, and I'll drill my hole in for the pin. Now the size of bit I use is 27/64. That gives you so you can have a big enough barrel on your pin. You won't be cutting through, so I think we'll go ahead and cut right here, and then we'll go over to the drill press and show you this process. Okay, I've got my wood clamped in here so it doesn't spin around, and I like to leave it a little bit long when I'm drilling, so it's safer that way. But now this is a 27/64 drill bit that I'm using. And drill all the way through. Alrighty, got the hole drilled. Yeah. Okay, I'm over at the miter saw. I'm going to cut this off, and I'm going to cut it about 3 inches. That'll give me enough for a tenon, and with not a whole lot of waste, but I will want to turn this between centers. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it now. Okay, right now I'm just going to find my centers of the block here, and punch a little divot in there so I can put it between centers. Okay, and when you put this between centers, you want to put the hole that you drilled toward the headstock, because you're going to want to put a tenon on this end. So I use my safety drive. And all we're going to do now is make it round.
Safety glasses.
I got safety glasses on. Yeah, normally on bigger projects I wear a face shield, but as small as this is, I'm not worried a whole lot. But I do have my eye protection on, so. Anchor, level. Of course, you're doing a demonstration. Get it round. It's probably rounded up there. A little bit more. That'll be good. Now then, I'm going to cut a tenon. I've got my measurement for my chuck there, and I'm going to use my skew chisel to cut the tenon.
And Tom, is the tenon to be clamped later into a chuck?
Yes, yeah, that's so I can clamp it into my chuck and reverse it.
I guess you'll be using the little grizzly chuck, the small one of the grizzly.
Yes, a small grizzly. I think it's 3 1/4 or 3 1/2 inches. It's a nice little chuck. I really like it. Okay, I'm done with the rough turning. Go ahead and stop and I'll get set up for. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and chuck it into the chuck. I've got a Grizzly 4-jaw chuck, and I do that to make sure it's centered. Now you want to drill it or chuck it up to where your hole is toward the tailstock now, and I'm going to measure out here in a minute, but
And Tom, I see you're tightening on all the tightening screws.
yes, I go around a couple times and it turns the jaws evenly. That's why you drill the hole first while it's square, because it'd be awful hard to drill this hole after you've turned it, so, and it doesn't affect your turning at all. So now that I've got it chucked up, I want to, I make mine about 1 3/8 long. 1.5 inches is all right, but if you start getting much wider than that, there's too much weight for the magnets to hold. So I make mine about 1 3/8. And I didn't explain when before I cut that wood. When did we do that piece of wood? I should have explained the way I marked that out before I drill it, but I measure my 1 3/8 here, and then my 3" will be about here. But on the 1 3/8, I make a mark across here. That way I can find my center, and that will be the center here. So I'm sorry I missed that part. But now, backwards for mine.
Well, yours is backwards from mine.
So now it's time to start turning the magnet holder. So that'll be my 1 3/8, and then I'm going to want to go about 1/4 inch on either end. That will give me a shoulder to go by. Oh, that's not, I got out of whack somehow. It's always in your demonstrations, isn't it? That's a little better. Okay. Now then, I'm going to take and part down 1/2 inch or so, and that'll give me my outside boundary. And then I'm going to put a little part in here to give me my boundaries for my cove. Now it's just a matter of cutting your coves, and you always want to stop before you adjust your tool rest. Now I'm just going to kind of round these edges here a little bit. And then I'm going to start making my coves.
How deep you gonna go
whatever looks pleasing to you, I think basically. Doesn't look too bad, and it, I might round that a little bit. You don't want to get, I'm going to be putting about an inch and a half Forger bit. So you want to leave enough on this end to do that. Okay, I think that would work. So now then, I'm going to, well, I'm not ready to sand yet.
Okay.
Now then, I'm going to put a hole, or with a Forstner bit for my insert. And I found out about, did you see that?
Okay.
I'm going to drill a hole with a Forstner bit about a 1/4 inch deep for my insert. I can glue it in. So
For your magnet insert?
no, for
For
the
the button on
for the
the,
button.
I
for the
see,
button.
okay.
So I'll,
so, question about what size are you gonna drill that hole, Tom?
I'm going to use an 1.5 inch Forstner bit.
Okay.
And okay. Okay, I'm getting ready to drill my 1.5 inch hole with my Forstner bit. Now, you want to leave, and I'll explain it later, but you always want to leave a little lip on this outside edge, which I'll explain later. But okay, and for this size bit, about 1,000 RPM. And I'm only going to be going in about, a 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8. Maybe a little. That should be plenty. I'm only about maybe a 1/16 of an inch, but that's plenty. That's why you want to watch on your cove and the size of your bit, because if you go too far, I'll be cutting into that. And what I'm going to do,
Make a ring.
yeah, I have, this is curly maple, and I'm using Babinga for the button. And do what?
Make sure you bring it right down.
Yeah, time out. Stop.
Yep.
Okay, we had to make a new button for, I had one pre-made, but when I drilled a hole with the Forstner bit, I wasn't using enough force pushing in and maybe not going fast enough, and it chattered a little bit, and it made the hole too big for the pre-made one I had. So we made another one that'll fit in there now. So what we're going to do now, Okay, let me explain something while we're, if you're using a button that has any kind of directional grain in it, you want to line it up with the holes that will be going up and down. And I did this one just lucky. This is the first one I made with the button in it, and I just happened to line it up accidentally. But after that I noticed it. So anytime you have anything with any directional grain, you want to direct it with the hole. So, okay. Okay, I'm just using regular wood glue, and want to glue both sides. And then, like I was saying, it looks like the grain's going to be going this way, so you just kind of make sure you get a good seal and line your grain up, and then bring your tailstock up and hold a little pressure on it. You get some squeeze out there, and then take a damp but not wet rag, and you kind of go around there and clean your excess glue. And what we'll do is let that set for at least a half an hour. Longer is better, that way you know you have a good glue joint. So we're just going to leave it right there for right now. Okay, we broke for lunch while the glue was drying, so it's good and dry now. So now I'm going to turn the button, and we can do that with the tailstock off. And I left a little lip here, about a 1/4 inch, and I'll explain why that's important a little bit later when I start putting the magnets on them. But for right now, we just need to get rid of some of this bulk on the
We had your RPM there when we did that.
So right now I'm just never want to adjust your tool rest while the lathe's running. Oh, and I was going to say, like I said earlier, the body is curly maple, and I'm using Babinga for the button. Just a little contrast. Probably made that button a little bit wider than we needed to, but now while you're doing this, you need to decide what kind of shape you want. What kind of shape you want, whether you want to have just a perfect dome, or if you want it concave or convex at any. It's just whatever's pleasing to you. Now you want to keep in mind that I'm about 1/4 of an inch inside there, so I got a little bit of room to play with. I think I'll kind of blend this edge into there a little bit, just kind of have a little bit of a taper. Okay, I decided I'm gonna leave the cone on top, but I'm gonna make a little bit of a concave in front here. That'll kind of make your grain in there kind of wavy looking. Maybe a little bit low with my tool rest. Let's see what that looks like. Light's not quite the best here, but and it's just a matter of making it however it pleases you.
Tom,
Sir. Yeah, we adjusted the camera a little bit so we kind of catch a little bit closer what I'm doing here, but I'm trying to make a little concave there.
what tool are you using, Tom?
This is an Easy Wood tool, carbide, and I've got the negative rake cutter on there. I'm trying to get it, I don't want it sticking out too far, but I do want a little bit of a dome to it. I think I'm gonna like that. I like the looks of that. I might kind of soften that, soften this just a little bit. Be patient. It'll speed up. Okay, I like that. And if you'll notice, if you can see it on there, the grain is going up and it's lined up with the hole. So I like that. So now we're going to stop.
Yep.
Okay, now we're getting ready to do the finish on it, do the sanding and finish. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to part back here a ways, and then I'm going to part down to about a ½ inch nub on there. That way I could get sandpaper in the back side and sand it while it's on the lathe.
Is it going to be fairly flat on the back?
Well, I'll get to that one
Okay.
when I'll explain it. It's not. But I want enough distance in here. I can get sandpaper in there. Okay, we stopped briefly so we can get a better angle of what I'm doing here, because I have a couple of things I want to explain when I get ready to part. Like I said, you want to part it down to where you have about a 1/2 inch nub on there, because that's where you're going to drill your forger bit for the magnet, but this way you'll be able to sand back here. So now on this back side, you want to come in about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch away from the edge, and you want to concave that in just a little bit, so that way it'll be sure it'll sit flat against the refrigerator or whatever you're going to mount it to, and because you don't want it domed out to where it'll rock. No. So the way I do that is I start about a 1/4 inch inside at a slight angle. Since you're putting magnets in there, you don't want to get too deep. You don't want to get the magnet too far away. So I think I'm going to like that. So now we're going to go ahead and shut it off. I'm going to clean up a little bit and then get ready to do my sanding. So okay, I've sanded up to 320 now, but there's a step in here that I want to show you that will help make a difference in the appearance of your product. This hole that you drilled in here, I've got 320 sandpaper. I just kind of roll it up a little bit, and you want to sand inside the hole. Not that anybody will ever look in it, but just in case they do, it'll look more finished. Plus it kind of softens up the edge is right in here. So what I'm going to do is, since I've got this sanded now, we're going to shut off the camera and I'm going to finish sanding to 800. Okay, we've got it sanded up to 800, and I'm going to start out using this Triple E scratch reducer stuff. It's really good. I like it.
I've got it used up, don't you?
Yeah, if I can get it out of the jar. And it doesn't take a whole lot, but it sure makes a lot of difference. And you just want to get it spread out. And I'm not going to worry too much about the back side. I've got another process I use on it. But you want to rub that in real good. Yeah, you can see that the bing is starting to pop some already.
You gonna turn it on and buff it?
Yes. Just get a good even coat on it. And then turn it up about 7 or 800 to get it rubbed, and just use a paper towel, works great. Now, my understanding is on this this triple E, you're supposed to apply it to bare wood. Yeah, you can see how that bing is popped already. Makes a real nice contrast with that. With that curly maple.
Now, have you considered using those white rags you have set out for this?
The blue ones?
No, the white rags.
Oh, yes. But the paper towels work good and they're a lot cheaper. Keep working that in until it doesn't come off on the rag anymore.
Do we ever use that, like the Wilshire?
Yeah, I'm going to use that next.
Do we use that next?
Yeah, you can kind of see how that Babinga popped real good. So now we've got a little bit of wax in the hole there, so all we need to do here is just run that through there. Okay. Now then, I've got another product here. This Yorkshire grit. This is ultra fine, and it will really.
I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so they can see that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a very good product.
Okay.
I like it. And it doesn't take much of this at all. You can see how it spreads just a little bit. Okay. And
So that's kind of a wax product, or?
yeah, it's but I will put a final wax on it and make it more waterproof.
My understanding is it's got some grit in it,
Yes, it's real fine.
real fine grit.
Yeah, you can really see it shining
The more
there.
he works it, it just kind of disappears.
Yeah, you keep working it in until it doesn't come off on the cloth anymore. Just keep turning your cloth.
You ever use a cloth rag for that?
I do just when I use the carnauba wax, I use cloth for that, but a real small piece. Yeah, I got a really nice shine on it. And then I'll put some that real hard carnauba wax on, especially if you're going to be using it in the kitchen. That gives it more of a moisture-proof finish on it. Got some here. Doesn't have any color on it. Now then, if you're going to use cloth, you want to use a small piece. And you want to make sure there's not any tails that are hanging out that's going to get caught in your. You never wrap it around your finger.
With the voice of experience.
Yes, it is. Same thing as this, just keep working it in until you, and you can feel the heat. Alrighty. Okay, that's it for the finishing. So now we're getting ready to, I'm gonna go ahead and part it off, and then we'll be finished with this part of it, so. Yeah, I started sanding up to 400. This is 400 on there on the back side. I'll show you how I do that. So just that way you can finish the back. Okay. Okay, I'm going to polish the back now, just like I did. I'm going to start out with the Triple E, and I've got a polishing pad set up on the lathe here, and it's the same process. Just the back side doesn't have to really be too fancy because nobody will ever see it, but you do want to have a nice finish on it.
Are you going to go over that with the Yorkshire grit also?
Yes. Alrighty, and then I'm going to do the same with the Yorkshire grit.
You're not going to change pads, Tom.
Do what?
Change pads. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with the Yorkshire grit. And like I say, it doesn't take much of this at all. Kind of wipe off the excess. Okay, there you go. I think that's adequate. I think that'll be fine. Hello?
Okay, off camera, we drilled the holes in the back of the body for the magnets. Now, I used 12mm magnets, and the hole I drilled for it was a 1/2" Forstner bit. And you just need to drill just a little bit, just so the battery will fit, and or the magnet will fit. And you don't want the
Too proud.
you don't want the magnet too proud, so it doesn't scratch on the refrigerator or scratch the finish off the magnet. So all it takes is one little drop.
And you're using CA glue, correct?
Yes, one little drop of CA glue, and then I put my magnet on a drill bit, and then I just spray a little accelerator on the magnet and just set it down in there. And when I first started making them, I didn't use the accelerator, and I'd have to stand there for 2 to 3 minutes and hope I didn't move too much. But just hold it in there for a second, and there you go. Now the same thing with your smaller magnets, and these magnets are, I think, 5/16, and I use I didn't have a Forstner bit, so I used a 21/64 drill bit to drill a hole for the little magnets. And the same thing with that, you just need a little drop of CA glue. I use medium CA. I think that might hold a little bit better than, and then spray a little accelerator on there and slip it down in there.
Tom, while you're waiting on that to dry, can you tell me the purpose of having 3 magnets?
The reason I use 3 magnets is because of the weight of the body. I didn't feel that the 1 magnet would be strong enough. But also, and I forgot to point out, but I lined the top magnets with the hole in the, and that will hold your pressure square and not let it twist too much like that. So line your small magnets up with your with the hole for your pin, and get ahead of myself here, and a little drop of CA glue, and a little bit of accelerator, and stick it in there. Now, the reason I did my waxing and all that first, before I drilled the holes, was that if I had drilled the holes and then finished the back, I would be getting wax down inside the hole, and it might not let the CA glue stick as well. So that should be it for the body. The body of it should be done. And there's see the magnets lined up with a hole. So, and if you notice the grain lines up with a hole also. So that's one thing to keep an eye on. So we're done with this part. All right, we went ahead and turned the pin off camera to save time. But I like to use the same kind of wood for the pin as I do with the contrasting button. And then you'll just stick this on the side of your refrigerator and stick it down there like that. Have a piece of paper hanging down, and anytime you need to get something out of or you need to put ketchup on the shopping list, just take that off and write it down, and you've got it right there.
Tom, stick that over there on the end of that so they can see how it works. Yeah, right on the end of that. If you, oh, there you go, right in your place. Okay, there we go.
And this is what my lovely bride does. Can you get that?
Yeah, got the paper.
And then if she needs ketchup or something, you just take that out and write it down. Put your pen back, and you've got your paper and your pen anywhere you need it. Now, we're going to do another video on making the pins. But what size is that?
9/64.
About a 9/64 hole, about 6 inches deep approximately, and we just use a Bic refill and just slide in there, and then you'll need a 3/32 to go in about, well, the length of the nib on the pin. You can tell the difference. And just in that Bic refill, when it runs out of ink, just pull it out, put another one in. But there's our project. And we thank you very much.
Okay.